you guys had indicated a desire for me to grow a beard. I didn't want to grow a beard, but I decided to grow out 3 days of stubble just to show you what it looks like.
I like it. I think it looks great.
Hey, you said it was 3 days worth 3 days ago. That's 6 days worth.
You look like a man now.
Well, that's Kurt. Thank you for interrupting.
That's what I'm here for.
But
I wasn't finished.
You see, after those 3 days, people in the chat said, "No, Chris, grow it out for a week." And so here we are. Now we're a full week. Oh, you're right, you guys. No wonder it's dark in here. I forgot to put my lights up. But there you go. Just for you guys, I grew out the beard. And now, thankfully, I can shave the dang thing because I hate this, if I'm honest.
Yeah. What? No, you have to grow it longer.
No. That is not happening.
Come on, guys.
I hate having a beard.
Come on, guys. Super chat him so he keeps that beard. Come on. Longer.
It's not happening. No amount of money.
This is toxic masculinity. It needs to be all beards.
Somebody also suggested that we make a toxic masculinity t-shirt. So here you go. If you guys want one, there's a toxic masculinity t-shirt. We've got toxic masculinity mugs. I think, let's see here.
I feel so legitimate.
You should, Kurt. You should feel legitimate.
A black t-shirt, my favorite, yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's our mug. Very beautiful. Anyway. So there's that out of the way. little sales pitch to you guys. Now, I have to apologize for something. I have to, unfortunately, express it reluctantly, obviously. What's the word, Jason?
For?
What's the word I'm looking for? I'm in a situation in which
what you said earlier.
Yeah. Look.
There you go, Chris. It's already starting.
Look. Let me get to the right page. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay, do you remember this guy, guys? Do you remember Mike Johnson? Oh, we got a super chat. We'll jump in here. Not Chili Boo Boo. Give us $10 and said, you should grow the beard out for a month.
Yes.
It's not happening. Agree. It's not happening, Chili Boo Boo. I'm sorry. $10 is not going to cut it.
Oh.
But listen. I also said Mike Johnson was one of those like Bart Simpson jokes where he calls the bar. But it wasn't Mike Johnson. It's Mike Hunt. If you say Mike Hunt quickly, it's a bit funny. And there's another Johnson one, but I forget what it is. But I mixed those two up. But anyway, I was trying to say previously that maybe Mike Johnson isn't a rhino. Let's give him some time, the benefit of the doubt, be positive. But he failed me. I thought for sure. You know what? Just give him a little bit of time. Maybe he's just new. Maybe he doesn't know what he's doing. No. This guy. I cannot tell you how disappointed I am. All right, we're going to play a video for you guys just so you know what this guy's about. Listen to this.
What did you feel when you watched the video of George Floyd being killed?
I was outraged. I don't think anyone can view the video and objectively come to any other conclusion but that it was an act of murder. And I felt that initially, as everyone did. It's so disturbing. And the underlying issues beneath that are something that the country is now struggling with. And I think it's something we have to look at very soberly and with a lot of empathy. And I'm glad to see that's happening around the country. What it's taught me is we now have 4 other children of our own. And my oldest son, Jack, ironically, this year is 14. And I've thought often through all these ordeals over the last couple of weeks about the difference in the experiences between my 2 14-year-old sons, Michael being a Black American and Jack being white, Caucasian. They have different challenges. My son, Jack, has an easier path. He just does. The interesting thing about both of these kids, Michael and Jack, is they're both handsome, articulate, really talented kids, gifted by God to do lots of things. But the reality is, and no one can tell me otherwise, my son Michael had a harder time than my son Jack is going to have simply because of the color of his skin. And that's a reality. It's an uncomfortable, painful one to acknowledge, but people have to recognize that's a fact.
What should we do about that?
I think that we really do need systematic change. I think we need transformative solutions.
All right. So this is essentially the Democrat talking points, right?
Mhm.
This guy has just articulated exactly the leftist position on race in America. Hoff Power Concrete and Semperfied Crawfish Company, $5. Thank you so much. He says, Mike better get his crap together fast. And he says, agree, you should grow the beard out. Don't be a wuss. You guys. This to me speaks volumes. I was waiting for a moment that Mike Johnson would either prove himself to be a principled conservative or prove himself to be a rhino. And this video proves to me that this man is a rhino. Next thing he'll be saying, January 6th was an insurrection and we got to go after those protesters, right?
Yeah.
Like this is...
You don't have to wait long.
No, probably not. It's so frustrating to hear him say that, right? Because we know that this systemic racism nonsense is just total BS. But he comes on the Christine Amanpour's show and is like, oh, no, you know what? I agree with you leftists. How's that helpful? How does that benefit the country? How does this move us forward? We don't need to fix... If anything, white people, especially straight white men, right? We're bigoted against. Everybody hates us. I'm putting out a video soon about how the left believes in this fairy tale. And the fairy tale is that the Hoff Power jumped in again, Hoff Power Concrete and Semperfied Crawfish Company. Another $5. Thank you so much. And he says, what a turn he's done. Last term, MJ for sure. Hopefully that's true.
Yep.
But
this is the worst kind of rhino, though. Like when they start using the points of race, and what disgusted me about that whole thing is like he compares his 2 sons, and he's making it like one son is different than his other son. So it's like the lower expectations. The whole lower expectations.
Oh, the soft racism of low expectations.
Yeah. And he's like saying like his one son is not good enough to his other son, which is white. I mean, that's just sickening for me.
So I'm wondering what it's like in their household. So he's got a black son and a white son. So is it like the black son gets his dinner first? Like the black son gets the first pick of the toys? I mean, does he practice this in his household? Because if he doesn't, then he's full of crap. I mean,
yeah.
Well, I think that what he probably thinks is he treats his son equally, but society treats the black kid worse.
But that speaks volumes on what he thinks the United States is right now. Yeah. People are commenting. It's correct. That video is kind of old, and these are the things I saw, and I was like, this guy is a complete rhino, and everything he's done since just made me. Well, I guess anybody that becomes speaker will I'll have that opinion until their actions, until they vote the way Republicans the way we want them to vote. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when we were discussing this earlier too, I mentioned like my thinking when he first got into the job was that he wouldn't get this job if he wasn't a politician. And what I mean is like if he didn't play those games, if he was something like Trump, he wouldn't have gotten the position to begin with because he's too much of a troublemaker. He's not going to play the games. He's not going to be a politician, essentially. What we need is less politicians and more people that do the right thing for the right reasons, instead of saying, oh, I have to play ball with everybody. And if it comes down to me being the deciding vote, I'm going to vote for the other guys because I'm a nicer guy, like me. It's like, that's not what we need. We need people that will stand up for themselves and not be wimps like this guy. And
yeah,
it's like I always say, never trust anybody with a black son. I mean, if you got a black son, basically, that's a red flag. I mean, we got Joe Jackson, Puff Daddy, O.J. Simpson. At one point, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's just pattern recognition. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, Jason, you were saying?
Yeah.
For those of you in the chat that don't know, Jason has a black son.
That's the thing that
Everything
gets
he
me.
says with a seed of a grain of salt. But anyway, go on, please.
But that's the thing that gets me. He sees his sons as color, like he's practically saying that he sees them as colors. I have a son that's mixed race, and I don't see my son as a color. You know, it's
right.
That's what really makes me mad. That's what really angers me about Democrats and rhinos, is that they see everything in color, and I understand why the Democrats do it. They're doing it because they think that's how they win votes and all that stuff. But it's when I saw that video and I heard him say that, it's like, man, you're categorizing your kids, you know, like how bad is that? Like when they grow up, what are they going to be thinking? Like, imagine they see that video. It's disgusting, and you know, and it just pisses me off because I have a son that's mixed, and I don't want him growing up thinking that or seeing people on our side talk like that. Yeah.
It's very frustrating. Yeah.
Who was it? There was a guy, he was in an interview and he was saying that being the black is the least interesting thing about it. He doesn't want to talk about being black. He wants to talk about other more important things because his race is just like basically inconsequential. And Morgan Freeman said something similar as well. And Sidney Poitier was like, you know what? I'm just going to stop doing interviews because all you guys want to talk about is as a black man this, as a black man that. Just like, I don't want to talk about being a black man. I want to talk about being an actor. I want to talk about my years in the business and all this kind of stuff. Like, all you guys want to talk about is like, oh, you must have faced all of this and that because you're a black man. You're just like, forget it. I'm not doing this anymore. It's not worth my time. And yeah, more power to him. Good for him. But yeah, if you're, and that's the thing though too, like what are you teaching your kids? We talk about black people and people in minority situations, like specifically black people. It's just like, okay, gotta have to talk with them. Like, you know, white people out to get you, the cops will shoot you, all this kind of stuff. Is he gonna have that talk with his son where you're not like your brother because you're gonna be looked at differently in the world? I mean, I would hope not, but if so, what an awful thing to basically say like, oh, you know, me and your brother and I guess your mother as well or whoever, like, these certain white people, like they're fine. But if you go out into that big battled world out there, there's going to be a lot of people that hate you for X, Y. It's just like, what? That's like, ugh. Like, how can you do that to your child? I mean, I hope best case scenario is he doesn't really believe it. And he's just a phony. I hope he's just a phony because I don't think about his son being raised in that environment because that's sickening.
Frodo Lives has jumped in and she's said MTG for speaker. Marjorie Taylor Greene, that is. Beard, 3-day shadow, Eastwood scruff was the best. Yeah, a 3-day shadow is as far as I like to go. This is too much. This is too much for me.
Yeah,
as you see, I don't look that good with a beard. I don't think a beard suits me at all.
I like it. I like it.
All right, shall we move on to the next thing? Look, let me just end.
By the way, Chris, I accept your apology. Thank you.
Let me just end it by saying this. I don't like to be wrong, but occasionally it happens. In this case, reluctantly, I admit I was wrong. Mike Johnson is a rhino, and I find him detestable, and we need to get rid of him. I was
We need
hoping
to
that would not
implement
be the
something on the
case,
show.
but huh?
We need
Did you,
like a
by the way, did you see the Tucker Carlson interview where he says like once people get into like positions in Congress or they like the intelligence community has
Yeah,
stuff
I
on
sent
them,
that
and that's
to you,
why
I
they
thought,
end up
didn't I?
changing. Yes, maybe you did. Yeah, you did send it to me.
I wanted to cover that
So,
today. Do you want to do that now?
yeah, let's do
well,
it
it's brought up.
'Cause
Let's go for it.
because it's pretty. It makes sense, like why somebody would just change their just their principles.
Right.
Everybody's compromised. Just a question of when they're going to say like, hey,
Where did
we have
that
to go this
go?
way on this topic, or
'Cause
else.
if you look at Mike Johnson, there's something off about the way he looks. I don't know.
What did I? What the? Where did what? I don't know. I can't find that video. Yeah, you explain what Tucker was saying.
So I think Tucker was on Joe Rogan, I believe it was, and he came out with like that someone important, like some big person in Congress or something like that. That's high there. That he was having a talk with him in his kitchen, and he basically came out saying, "Yeah, that's what it is. These people, the intelligence agencies have stuff on a lot of these people." So he just like confirmed to him that that's what they're doing. And I find it very like sick and that our own intelligence agencies are working against the American people, like to get these people to do their own like what they want, which obviously is giving money to other countries and spending our tax money on outside things instead of fixing our country, So yeah, I mean.
And that's just
All right.
that was just extended to the American people as well. They didn't get rid of that bill that allowed them to spy on us. Which thanks for that is also Mike Johnson.
Yeah, but it makes sense after what Tucker Carlson says, because of course he would get rid of. He wouldn't vote to like get rid of that FISA thing, because that's not going to help the intelligence community. Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that he's compromised at this point, because he had the deciding vote. It's one thing to say, oh, we have to play nice. When it comes down to it, and you're the deciding vote, and you go, well, I'll go along with these other guys. It's like, okay, well, you're not even representing your party or your constituents or your people or anything. You're saying like, oh yeah, I vote with them. That's literally what he did. So yeah, at this point, it's clear that they've got something on him. They're just directing him which way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, well let me throw that up there. Let me go ahead and play that real quick, and we can watch what Tucker Carlson actually says.
Secretive agency. Members of Congress are terrified of the intel agencies. I'm not guessing at that. They've told me that, including people on the Intel Committee, including people who run the Intel Committee, the people whose job it is to oversee and keep in line these enormous secretive agencies whose budgets we can't even know. They're black budgets. They're the parents. The agencies are the children. They're afraid of the agencies. That's not compatible with democracy. Democracy is a really simple system, even representative democracy like ours. The people rule. They do so through elections. They express their preference through voting. They send their people to the capital city to run the government on their behalf. Whenever you have unelected people who are not accountable to anyone making the biggest decisions, you don't have a democracy. You have something else, another system. I would call it a tyranny or whatever you want to call it. It's not a democracy. So that's like super obvious. It's playing out in front of everyone, and no one cares and no one does anything about it. And I think the reason is because they're threatened. And if you look at the committee chairmen who allow this shit to happen year after year, they're all, and I don't know, people say, oh, they're compromised or being blackmailed or whatever. I don't have evidence of that, but I know them, and they all have things to hide. I know that for a fact. And so it's not a stretch of imagination to imagine that, some committee chairman who's allowing warrantless spying on Americans to continue, or whatever abuse they're allowing, knowing fully or hiding the truth about UAPs, ignoring the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023. Like, why are they doing that? It's not impossible to imagine that some guy with a drinking problem or a weird sex life, and that's very common up there, that's why they're doing it. Because they don't want to be exposed. I don't have evidence of that. I don't have proof of that.
Right.
But that's not a crazy thing to assume that could be happening. And I said to somebody, a very powerful person, the other day in a conversation in my kitchen, an elected official, holds a really senior position, a very famous person. I was going crazy. I was so mad about all this stuff and about the warrantless spying and about the funding for these insane wars. And I said to the guy who serves in one of the legislative bodies, I got so mad my dogs were afraid. They're like, well, why are you yelling? Because I don't yell at home. But I was like, all these people are controlled. They're all, got weird sex lives, and all these things are hiding, and they're being blackmailed by the intel agencies. And he said, and I'm quoting, I know. It was like, okay, so at this point we're just sort of admitting that's real? Like, why do we allow that to continue?
I love that, actually, because we're kind of getting at, what's really going on in the world here.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because those moments are very powerful, right? I've had these moments too, where you speculate about something, you think, I think this is true. I don't have proof, but it makes total sense. And then you talk to somebody who should know about it, who's in a position to know about it, and they're like, yeah, that's what's going on. I've talked to FBI agents like this. I've talked to people who have been targeted by the government. And I present my speculation, expecting them to shoot it down and go, no, it's not like that. And a lot of times they'll go, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And that's the reality is like, it's worse than you could possibly imagine. If we have a situation in which our intelligence agencies are blackmailing everybody, or at least they have the threat that they will blackmail everybody, then they essentially control the federal government, right? And I think I made a video like a couple months back called "The FBI Controls Everything," and it was this theory exactly, right? And it's being confirmed here. Hoff Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company, another $5 says, Chris looks like a grown-up non-womanizer with that cute baby little beard. I'm not a womanizer.
Does anybody else in the chat think that Chris looks Middle Eastern? Like he should be selling me like a knockoff watch or something.
Okay,
That's,
that's really gonna make me want to keep the beard, Kurt.
I'm getting a craving for shish kebab right now. Is this just me? Anybody else? Chris kebab, baby.
Hoff Power
market,
came
actually.
back with another $5, and he says, "With the beard, you might pull conservative women instead of liberal crazies." Look, all of my girlfriends are conservatives. All right, I have dated leftists in the past. Maybe some of the girls in Europe were left wing, but most of the girls are like long-term relationships. They're all conservatives mostly. So yeah, people. Selena Girl says that I look Spanish. The Assassin of Gray says that I look like I've just seized Constantinople. I certainly hope he means for the Europeans. But I guess if it's Constantinople, that's the European name for it, right? So, yeah. Anyway, all right. I think that was a very good segment. Jason, do you have anything to say about Tucker's?
I just love the fact that Tucker left Fox and well, actually, they fired him. I think that was the best thing that happened to this country because so much is coming out through him. And, you know, like,
He was unshackled from Fox in a way.
Yeah.
Tucker, get some good security because, you know, we need you and you need to be safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important too that we have people like Joe Rogan. And I mean, Joe Rogan used to be worse. I think he would have he would definitely be more of have a leftist slant, and he would kind of like talk over or kind of shut down some of his guests if he didn't agree with them. But I think over time now he's much more brings people on because he is interested in what they have to say. And I think that Tucker Carlson's a good example where he's like, he wants to hear his guests. And that's why you've seen people try to cancel him in the past few years, because they'll be like, oh, Joe Rogan's saying the wrong thing. Let's cancel him. Let's go after him for X, Y, and Z. And he survives, and he's attracting like a very mainstream audience. He's not attracting a left-wing audience or a right-wing audience. He's attracting like a massive audience on Spotify. Is getting paid, you know, millions and millions just re-upped his contract. So he seems to be pretty much cancel-proof for the moment. So it's good that we have people like him that will bring on people like Tucker and give exposure to him, where obviously Tucker's huge, you know, people watch his videos on X and stuff like that, but the people that wouldn't watch him otherwise will see him here, which is great. So thanks, Joe Rogan. Thanks for being awesome.
You know, that's what's good about Joe Rogan as well. We're seeing the transition of Joe Rogan as it's happening, you know, so people on that end are also witnessing that. So people on the left and stuff that think that way are also seeing Joe Rogan transform into something else. And it's kind of like, I think it opens up their eyes also. So that's a good thing. Hold on. He gives, that's the other thing. He gives a voice to everybody, as well as Tucker gives voices too. And they listen to the people. When you see them in interviews and all that stuff with other people, they're listening to them. They're taking what they say in, and it's not like trying to put their point out and trying to convince them to think a certain way. But yeah, seeing that transition is
exploring truth and trying to become a better person, more sensible person, more rational person. But we've got to take a moment to address a very important person in the chat right now, gentlemen. International superstar. She hosts an amazing
Austin
show
Powers?
From Australia. No. Miss Daisy Cousins. Thank you so much for the $5 Australian, Daisy Cousins. She writes, sending good vibes and good wishes. She's a huge friend of the show. Yeah, love Daisy. She's absolutely amazing. We need to do something at some point again, madam. Maybe we'll have you on Toxic Masculinity at some point.
Yes.
We're going to start doing guests. Once we get all the wrinkles ironed out, we're going to start having guests come on.
It would be cool to have a woman on Toxic Masculinity, get their point of view.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow. And it'll be fun to talk over them and mansplain, and it'll be great times.
Well, it's all we're all doing this digitally. We're not in the same room, so we don't have to worry about how wide our legs are spread open while we're sitting. So we can all be civil. Nobody has to feel threatened.
Oh, I don't think Daisy's scared of us. She's kind of she's hardcore. All right, gentlemen, let's get to the news. I mean, we've done a little bit of news, but let's get back to the news.
Sorry, just really quick. One more thing about Tucker Carlson saying that everybody's compromised. Everybody's just basically like, you know, can't be trusted because the FBI has the dirt on them. This just goes to further show that guys like Donald Trump are clean, because if he wasn't, they wouldn't be going after him like this. He'd just do he just roll over. He'd bow out of the race. He'd like, you know, or when he was in power, he would be like, you know, going along. But this is how clean Donald Trump is. The FBI's got squat to the point where they have to have these kangaroo court show trials in order to like bully him out of running. So thanks for being awesome and uncorruptible, Donald Trump. Anyway, moving on.
True.
Yeah.
Daisy Cousins threw a little an extra chat in here. She writes, she would love to come on, but she will be the one mansplaining things. All right, let's slide on over to the next story, shall we?
Yes. Rush Limbaugh used to say,
your voice cracked there. Did she kind of get you a little scared there, Jason? I'll be the one who's just like, okay. Sorry, go ahead.
I look forward to it. I look forward to a good
Yeah, it sounded like you got really excited at the prospect.
Two men mansplaining to each other. Rush Limbaugh used to say, like, that's what pissed them off about Trump, and the fact that they couldn't get Trump with anything. Like, because that was the whole thing about the media and intelligence agencies and all that stuff, is that they could always determine who would run, who would become president. Like, they could destroy anybody, and none of that worked with Trump. So, yes, and you can see it now, what they're doing to him to this day, to this very day, like what, 10 almost 10 years later. Okay, so moving on.
Since before he ran the first time.
Yep.
And part of their ideology is that, like, everybody's corrupt. You know, they're sort of like, oh, everybody's bad. We're bad, they're bad, but they're worse. But then that sort of flies in the face of their belief system. Because they're just like, well, we know that everybody's crooked. So clearly this guy that we hate so much, he's crooked. And they're like, oh, he's actually not crooked. So it's sort of like a come to Jesus moment, or come to science moment, I guess, if you're a leftist, where they're like, wait a minute, this guy's not at all dirty. It's just like, okay, well, you know, look in the mirror. You think everybody's dirty because that's what you are. You're projecting. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so moving on to, we have an X post. It is Biden's trip to Wawa today was a few days back, was completely staged. Even the tip, the cashier was pre-planned out. Even the tip that he was supposed to give to the cashier was pre-planned. And it got caught on tape. How dare Biden disrespect Wawa?
Oh, yeah. This is a great... Let's check that out. Give me 1 second, gentlemen, while I flip over. I was doing something else. Yeah, this is
Wawa nationwide? I'm not familiar with them.
Let's play the video.
Okay.
I need somebody to bring me a yogurt. Give me a yogurt. Doesn't matter which one.
Well, anyway, you guys can get the idea.
Yep. So this is right after Trump went. This is right after Trump went to a bodega in New York and lit the internet and everything on fire with the support that he got. And it's funny to me that they actually had the audacity to try to do what Trump did with this person that we have as president.
Well, you know what's weird?
Nobody said, "Wait a minute, we can't. We're going to embarrass ourselves if we try to do what Trump did with Biden." I mean,
well, when that Chick-fil-A thing came out, Trump didn't go to a bodega, really, right? He went to Chick-fil-A, and he bought everybody milkshakes, right? Isn't that what happened?
Chris, bodega is just black for deli.
No, I'm talking about actually the bodega that he went to, in New York.
Well, there was something like outside a bodega, wasn't there, where everybody was cheering for Trump?
Yeah, and also you're right. Also the Chick-fil-A as well. Those two incidents. I guess they were pressured. They were like, we have to get him out somewhere. But but that was a big mistake. Because
Well, what was really weird to me is that when the Chick-fil-A thing happened, I remember very clearly. I mean, this was just a few days ago, right? I said, I think on this show, there is no way they could do that with Joe Biden.
Yeah, we did talk about that. Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if they try to do this with Joe Biden, he'd be wandering around confused. You know, he'd probably have protesters. Like, it wouldn't work. And I think I said, in order to get this to work, they would have to very carefully curate it.
Yeah.
And
by,
then,
by the way, Chris,
couple days later,
by the way,
yeah.
Justin, the manager of that store has gone missing. Joking.
And then a few days go by and they decide, oh yeah, we got to do a thing with Biden, and they totally curate every little piece of it. Here's a second video. We can watch a second video of this because it's ridiculous. I know it's hard to hear it, guys. Sorry.
Mr. President, I'm gonna pick up a few pounds here.
And don't forget, we also included drinks for you as well. Just enjoy.
He can't get the box shut. He's like, I don't know how this box works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's painful to watch, you guys.
What happened to the box?
Screw it. I'm out of here. I was promised ice cream.
We'll be right back.
Oh, so yeah, like so the bodega thing. It was actually at the bodega where the man defended himself and killed the guy that was trying to rob from him. Trump went and visited that.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So he pretty much humiliated the Biden campaign with all that.
You know, it's Trump's people know how to do the photo.
I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry, Chris. But the thing about the bodega thing is that it's
you could just wait like half a second.
I gotta get this off my
mind. My sentences aren't that long.
So it's brilliant what he did, because as he's being tried in New York by Bragg, because Bragg actually let the guy put the guy in prison, the bodega worker in prison for defending himself, and there was the outcry, and they had to let him out. So it's like Trump is just a master at what he does.
Well, it's not. It's like, obviously when he's going to the Chick-fil-A, obviously when he's going to the bodega, obviously when he's coming out and doing these things, it's not just like super organic, right? It is staged. It is planned, right? They're doing it for the photo op, whatever it is. But they know, the people that are putting Trump in these situations, they know that Trump's going to kill it, right?
Yeah,
it's up to Trump to either make it work or not. And so they send him out there, they set up the situation, they send him out there, and then Trump has to act. He's got to do his Trump thing. And if it works, it works. And so far, it just keeps working. People love Donald Trump. You know, I'm doing a video called Trump is a Badass. This is a comment that I made on Newsmax the other day. The video's coming out soon. And I analyze what makes a person cool, right? And one of the major aspects of being cool, at least what we think in America, is being a bit of a rebel. And why is that? Because it sort of suggests, it's not always true, but it suggests that you have principles and you're willing to stand up for those principles, regardless of who's against you. If the establishment is against you, you don't care. You throw your middle finger up to the establishment, you keep going. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, but at least you have the strength to stand up for your principles. And I think that, like, Black people in America, they're like the cool culture, right? And they kind of care about what's cool. And when they see Trump and they relate to him because they feel like maybe they have been persecuted by the federal government, and they see Trump being persecuted by the federal government, and they see Trump's kind of cool and they relate to him a little bit, I think it shows a major shift. It's much more important than just Trump's getting more of the Black vote. It's like,
who are our coolest and best presidents in history? Like, think about it. I'll think of a few. Theodore Roosevelt. How cool is that guy?
Yeah.
You know, Reagan. I mean, an
Yeah.
actor, a Hollywood actor. You know, and now Trump. I mean, it's yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. And they see it and they recognize it and they appreciate it. It's fantastic. And
Yeah, when you
Biden,
see
he
these-
can't do that. You know, he's just not.
No.
He's just
No.
a dork. You
No,
know?
yeah.
When you see these Biden videos, it's like you're watching the evidence of like an elderly abuse trial or something. Like clearly you can see here the man does not want to be there. He doesn't know what he's doing. Someone's directing him from that's not on camera. Like this, it reminds. There was a story that popped up. It was like in Brazil, I think. This woman had like her dad or a grandfather or somebody. He was dead and in a wheelchair, and they assumed he was dead for hours. She brought him to the bank to
I saw
sign
this,
a
yeah.
loan for her or something. I
I've
just
seen
like
that. I
that's
read
what
that.
I think when I see Biden. I'm just like, this is Weekend at Bernie's. They're wheeling Biden around. He's going like, "Hey, vote for me," and he's been dead for months. You know, that's the way I feel when I see this. And it's like the difference between him and Trump could not be more stark.
And it's perfect because the woman was just like his wife. Like,
Oh, you mean Biden's wife? Yeah.
yeah, because Biden's wife. I mean, that's just horrible what she's doing. Like, I have no pity on them, but like to do that to your husband, that's very
Remember back when they had like the live stream and they were side by side and he said, "Let's go, Brandon." He was reading the comments.
Yeah.
I'll never get old. It was priceless. Like, yeah, let's go, Brandon. She's like, no, don't say that. Oh God. You know, she was just urge, just face palm right there. Like, Jesus, give me something to work with here.
David Smith. That's what the problem is. It's the full moon, Chris. That's why we had all those issues.
Maybe that's why.
Yes.
So, yeah, when I saw that video of the dead guy, it was really disturbing, and I just wanted to scroll past it, to be honest. But I had the impulse to write something about, oh, Joe Biden's at the bank, you know, something like that. But
oh, you should have.
I refrained.
Well, leave it to me to do your dirty work for you, Chris.
I know.
Where you're too dignified to go, that's where I live, baby. Whenever you come across something like that, just in case I don't get to it, you come across something that's just like, this is undignified, just text me like, "Hey, Kurt, next time we do it, bring this topic up. Make it sound like it's your idea." So I'm like, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir, President Biden. I will do whatever you say. You're my FBI, Chris."
Jason, yeah. And you're my Facebook, Kurt. Jason, next story.
Oh, that sounds a little bit obscene, but whatever. We'll move on.
So we have the return of Pocahontas, as a late great Rush would say.
Yeah.
She writes an X post. She posted on X. It's time to break up Apple's smartphone monopoly.
Yeah.
Also, come on, let's stop leaving green text people out of the group chats. It's just not right.
All right, let's watch this. Hold on.
You have to see the video.
Relationships. That's right. Non-iPhone users everywhere are being excluded from group texts, from sports teams chats to birthday chats to vacation plan chats. They're getting cut out, missing out on plans and conversations. And who's to blame here? Apple. That's just one of the dirty tactics that Apple uses to keep a stranglehold on the smartphone market. Apple has used its monopoly on smartphones to lock Americans into services and amass billions of dollars in profits. Apple even takes a cut every time you use Tap to Pay and has blocked a new app that would have let Android users finally use iMessage and get those blue texts. That's why last month, the Department of Justice sued Apple for its broad-based exclusionary content. And that's
the right thing to do. No, it really isn't. Look, I'm not like a huge fan of Apple. I have an iPhone. But I don't even know what the hell she's talking about. Okay, so like... Oh, Jason disappeared. I don't know what happened there. Are we going to get him back? Kurt, can you see him? Did I lose Kurt as well?
Who?
Jason. Oh, there he is. Hey, buddy.
Everything's normal for me.
All right, he popped out there for a second. He's back.
So
Listen.
So Chris, I popped out. What's going on?
Yeah, I like this new program. Let Jason get popped out for a change instead of me every 5 minutes.
Listen.
You hear me though, right?
I have an iPhone. Kurt has
So-
an iPhone.
so-
Jason does not have an iPhone. So what did we do? We needed a group chat. And I'm actually in Asia, so I don't even have a phone server, an American phone service. I can't even use normal SMS texts. I have to use, digital text. So what did we do? We decided to get Signal. Signal's an app. Telegram's another app you can use. WhatsApp is another app that you can use. And you can have group chats in any of these apps, which are better than Apple Texts or Android SMS texts. They're fantastic. Everyone in Europe uses WhatsApp. Fantastic. Semperfied, Hoffpower Concrete and Semperfied Crawfish Company sends $2, and he says, for Jason's Wi-Fi bill. That's quite good. But anyway, what do you guys think about this? I think she's just trying to snatch a little bit of fame again.
I know you and I spoke about this, Chris, and we were talking like you were saying that these people don't really know technology and all that, and I have to agree.
Hey! Don't talk about me when I'm not in the room. That's rude.
There is such a thing called an Android and all that stuff. Like there is other options out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird that she's like because the thing is like the leftist elites. I lived in LA for years, right? As you guys know, 12 years I lived in LA. And I don't think I met a single person who had an Android phone out there. Right? And if you go to New York, it's like the same thing, right? The iPhone is considered like
because it's a status thing. Yeah, it's a status thing.
It's not even. I mean, it's like if you don't have an iPhone, it's lame.
Look, I got a $5,000 phone.
Well, it's not even that much of a status thing. It's just like if you don't have an iPhone, it's weird. You're like a weirdo. You're different or something. So in California, New York, I think you kind of have to have an iPhone. Like that's the thing, and probably DC as well is the same. And so you got this lady who. She probably has an iPhone. All her friends have iPhones. And then like one person doesn't. And she's too old to figure out how to include that person in the chat because they got an Android. And she's like, oh, this is a good thing that I could jump on. But I think it's just another one of these things where she's trying to seem like the hero of the people. Get her 15 minutes of fame back. Because she kind of disappeared, right?
Yeah. Yep. And we also talk about like when I see people like her being reelected constantly all the time, that's when I'm like, okay, elections are definitely rigged because the people can't possibly keep voting these people in office,
Oh, yeah.
So when I see stuff like that, it just convinces me more and more that these elections are rigged, that they're rigged and they're just put in there. Because why would people continue to vote for them? Even vote for another Democrat. Why the same person all the time? Yeah.
It's especially Pelosi. Pelosi is the one that I never understand that.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Kurt.
Yeah,
Kurt.
No, I was just thinking that if they ever do how Hollywood is so creatively bankrupt, if they ever bring back Three's Company, they need somebody diverse to play the Don Knotts neighbor. Well, she's a shoo-in. As I was listening to her and watching her, just like, this is like the annoying neighbor personified. Like everything she says, I can't decide if I want to walk away or punch her in the face. Of course, I wouldn't punch her in the face because, that would be abusing a Native American, and I'm not for that sort of thing. So, but the desire is there.
All right, let's move on to the next story, Jason.
Okay, so Donald Trump hush money trial to begin with all jurors seated. So former President Donald Trump's hush money trial in Manhattan is set to hear opening arguments on Monday, today, after a full jury of 12 jurors and 6 alternates were seated on Friday.
Yeah, this is, of course, a nonsense.
How do you think that's going to go? Do you think it's actually going to be a fair trial with these jurors in New York?
Well, the jurors themselves don't seem to think that's going to be the case. So I'm going to go with them on this one and say that they probably have a better idea of what's happening than I do.
Donald Trump commented about this. He had a couple of comments, but I think the second one is more important. He writes, the corrupt Soros-funded district attorney Alvin Bragg, who has totally lost control of violent crime in New York, says that the payment of money to a lawyer for legal services rendered should not be referred to in a ledger as legal expense. What other term would be more appropriate? Believe it or not, this is the pretext under which I was indicted. And that legal scholars and experts cannot believe. It is also the perfect crooked Joe Biden narrative to be stuck in a courtroom and not be allowed to campaign for president of the United States. And I think that's a really important... This really sums up how absurd this whole thing is. And I'm really glad he tweeted that. And it's going... people are looking at this on Twitter and stuff. And
yeah.
It's too bad that Trump made the Truth Social thing, because it would be nice to have him back on Twitter. Or X, as we now call it.
Yeah.
No thoughts?
I agree. He needs to get back on X.
Well, it's like we know what this trial is. Something like, and more so than like just observing it the way it happens. It's just like you have to question the motivation behind it. It's just like, do they really think this is working for them? Because even guys like who's that dude the dude that's like the sports guy. The black guy who's always talking about politics. You guys don't watch Sports Center or anything?
No.
Anyway.
Oh, but we have somebody from Twitch in the comments, which I'm thrilled by.
Different Twitch, okay.
VYSE 1800 writes, he was also accused of criminal conspiracy in opening statements, a crime he's not charged with. Like a very good point. It's nice we got the Twitch people in the comments, though. That's nice to see. Sorry, continue, Kurt.
Well, I'm just thinking, do they actually think this is working for them? Do they think that this is helping them politically to go after? Because there's people on the left that are saying, this is bad. You're like, what's the word? I can't think of, my vocabulary's out the window right now. But anyway, they're saying like, you're making him a martyr. Basically, you're going after him. It's a bad look, and I think we can agree with that. So why are they continuing to do this? Is it just like they got nothing else?
I think it is. I think it is working for them. I think
so. Okay.
It's having the effect that they want it to have. Because here's how I look at it: like they know they're gonna lose. They know they're gonna lose with Biden. So the more they can like wreak havoc on Trump, the better for them. What I don't understand is how they're letting this go through, like how the Supreme Court and everybody's just letting this happen. It's obvious. We obviously see what they're trying to do. So yeah, for me, I think they think it's helping, and it kind of is in a way. It's having an effect on Trump. It's obviously got to have an effect on Trump.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. People have noticed in the chat that YouTube is throttling my stream. Yep.
Are they really?
Big time. That's actually why we switched to this new system. I'm getting texts here from Jason going, I like the old system. Let's go back. But listen, the reason I've switched to this new system is specifically because we can add Rumble to it.
Right.
So that's why I switched over.
Yeah.
I'm going to try.
If I seem a little off, it's because the new system.
Yeah. I haven't figured out how to throw the Rumble chat up here yet. So if you're watching on Rumble, I apologize. I'm not reading your chats. but I will have that fixed next time that we do this. But yeah, I want to include
I'm
Rumble. I
checking
want to
on Rumble
build
to see
my
if they
channel
see
on
they
Rumble.
post anything.
What's that, Kurt?
I'm checking on Rumble to see if they post everything. The guys on Rumble are quiet as church mouses.
Well, how many people are watching? Like 6? I don't have a big presence on Rumble, so I'm trying to build that. I'm going to try to build that, I think. But this is the first episode, and it was a disaster.
Start.
Okay, so
Stephen A. Smith. Thank you. Half Power Concrete and Certified Chronically. Stephen A. Smith, yes. That's what I was trying to think of. You guys, you think so Jason, you think it is helping them, and Chris, you think it isn't?
Well, I it's not that it's helping them, but it's working in their favor right now, I think. And because, like I said, they know Biden doesn't have a chance. So any little thing that they can do, any little thing they can do, it's little by little,
so
you know, whatever they can do.
So you think that they have accepted the fact they're going to lose the election?
Yes, I think they've accepted the fact that they're going to lose it, and now they're going to try whatever they can.
So now
to,
it's just making a case for Trump being to
rig it.
Yeah. Okay. So if they lose, you think it's just about building a case for Trump as a bad man?
Yes, and finding a way to rig it, trying to get rid of him, or
interesting.
Just trying, picking little things, and just
I actually agree with that.
Just getting him to a point where
just needling him till he quits. They're thinking he's going to fold under pressure at some point. They just haven't applied enough pressure yet.
He'll never quit, but maybe they think he'll stumble on the.
Okay.
So yeah, Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
We'll
see how it goes.
I want to hear your opinion on this.
Look, 2 things could happen. There's only 2 chances that they have. They could cause some kind of a major incident before the election, or they could wait till Trump's elected, and then they could cause a major incident after Trump is elected, and then use that to manipulate the public into thinking that Trump is a dictator and he's not a good president and all this kind of stuff. So, like, all signs point to the deep state causing some kind of a massive incident.
Yeah.
And by massive incident, I mean possibly something like a terrorist attack or something. I don't want to believe that's true. It's all speculation, of course.
Yeah.
I don't want to believe it's true, but I'm very worried that it is true. And I don't mean a little attack. I mean like the biggest attack in the history of the country.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Like, I'm really worried about that. That's why I've been, since I'm black pilled, I've been prepping. I have my prepper. I have my get out of town bag ready.
You go
tons
bag,
of food in my garage.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I remember when the September
now everybody
11th,
knows they're gonna come to my place. Great.
Yeah, I'm not doing any of that anymore. I'm at this point in my life. When September 11th happened, I think I was like 19. I was in my first apartment. I was living in Hollywood, and when the Twin Towers things happened, I got a go bag ready. I did all kinds of things, but now it's just sort of like, whatever.
Yeah. Well,
20 years older
here in Miami,
and
Florida,
just like resigned to my fate.
Yeah, agreed. But here in Florida, Miami, you always have to be prepared because we always get hurricanes.
You guys
and
have
stuff.
hurricanes.
And let me tell you, when a hurricane passes, I went through Andrew when I was little, and we were
Andrew was your roommate.
Probably 8 weeks, probably like 2 months without electricity, and it was hard to get food and all that stuff. And that kind of told me you need to be prepared, especially here in Florida. But anyway, are we ready to move on, or does anybody?
Well,
have
Kurt, can
any
you
last
get the link to
opinions?
Rumble and put it in the chat?
I did.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Somebody just wrote, have this running on Rumble also. Yeah, it is. I thought I'd send you that. But anyway.
This is the first time we're doing that.
Yeah, so it may not work well. We'll have to find out. I'm going to look at it afterwards and see how it worked and try to fix it. Anyway,
It seems to be working okay. I'm checking in with the rumblers or whatever they're called, and it's going. Oh, here we go. Yeah. And now we've got a couple people making comments.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Jason, let's move on to the next
The Rumble
story.
crowd is growing exponentially.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay, moving on. Representative Ilhan Omar's daughter, Isra Hirsi, 21, says she is homeless and starving after being suspended from college over anti-Israel protests at Columbia University, which saw her zip-tied for 7 hours. How is she homeless and starving if her mom has a ton of money? Explain that to me.
Yeah, hold on. You want me to get the story up there? There it is.
Chris,
there's a lot of ads
Kurt,
because this is Daily Mail, so they have an absurd number of ads up. But yeah, this is the story here from Daily Mail, and she's
I think
pretending
basically
that
they
she's a
kicked her
victim.
out of the Columbia University.
I think she goes to Barnard College.
Yes.
Is that
correct.
part of Columbia? I don't know. I was confused by that. I thought it was a separate thing. Yeah, that's what the leftists do. They go, "Oh, I'm a victim. I'm a victim."
But this is a perfect example also of bringing people from all over the world. Like they have no loyalty to the United States. It's their loyalty is somewhere else.
I'm texting Kurt and he's not responding.
And I know a lot of it has to do with victimhood mentality.
Texting me? I'm on my phone right now. You realize that?
Oh,
right?
that's right.
Maybe send me something through Signal, since you're an unpaid spokesperson for Signal.
Go on, Jason.
Sorry, Jason.
The world's going to hell, and Chris and Kurt are worried about texting.
Well, you should be happy, Black Pillar. You're getting everything you ever wanted. But anyway, so I'm thinking, obviously she's sheltered. She's, like you said, but this to me is like, I think that she actually, in her mind, does feel like this is suffering to her. As sheltered as she is, she's like, oh, I'm being persecuted. She's like if, what's that one chick, Greta Thunberg. She's like if Greta Thunberg wasn't faking. I don't think she's faking. I think she's lived such a privileged life that being kicked off campus and not getting her cafeteria food, which she was complaining about, is oppression to her. Like she's feeling oppression for like the first time in her life. She's like, yes, this is what I'm talking about.
Right.
I can't go back to my dorm room. And she said, I got like 3 pairs of pants and 2 shirts. Just like, okay, well, if you were actually living under Marxism, you've got the communist hammer and sickle in your Twitter bio. You'd have 1 shirt and 1 pair of pants. You're doing pretty good, aren't you?
Yeah, it's not even oppression. It's mild discomfort.
Chris, like you said to Jason, it'll only take a couple more seconds. You can wait, can't you?
Well, I only used a couple of seconds to express my mild discomfort.
But as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted.
I think there's a little bit of a delay between us. So
basically, the way I think of her
it's not. I'm picking moments that I think are good, and obviously I'm wrong. To jump in.
Fair enough. I was just teasing you. But anyway, so the way I think of her is like she is like at a fur convention. She's like, I'm a wolf. And then she actually gets thrown to the wolves. And now she's just like, this sucks. I don't like this. She's getting a dose of what she pretends to put forward into the world and be like, this is how we all should live. We should fight the power. Just like, oh no, the power has power. It's like, okay, yeah. You noticed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and it's
Jason,
weird that
also
don't let Chris talk. Jason, go. Not Chris, Jason.
I think it helped her too, because obviously they knew she was going to be on national news. Like this is a representative's daughter, so so they're going to use this to the fullest. I mean,
and just like putting Biden on national news, it makes them all look terrible. And just like, yeah, let's put her up there. And just like, oh wait, everybody hates her because she sucks. But hopefully that's the reaction. But I mean, I'm hoping that people in her age bracket don't look at her as a role model or something. Paying $90,000, or Soros or somebody's paying $90,000 a year for her to go to this school and being like, yeah, she's standing for what she believes in. I don't know.
Yeah, she's obviously
Chris, go
one
ahead.
of these
You waited long
people
enough.
that, you know, her mom pays for everything, and she doesn't know any. Like, I mean, how do you not have any money? She's pretending that she relies on the school for food.
Yeah,
That's what she says in the article.
Or friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
This is obviously a lie. Like she can, yeah, she has
You made
no
a good
friends.
point. And
This is it's obviously, yeah, it's obviously set up too. Like, I think this is just a setup.
Yeah.
Well, did you guys
Chris, you made a good
see,
point to me earlier in the text. You were like, this person is like a.
Go on.
This person is like a future leader. So she's being groomed to be like her mother, a politician, you know, and she has no discernible life skills. Zero. It's just like, wait, I can't get. I rely on the cafeteria for my meals. I can't go to the cafeteria. I'm going to starve. Just like, so she's basically the equivalent of a dog left over the weekend at home, and the automatic feeder broke. So you come home and the dog is dead.
Right.
It's like she's like a house pet that's like can't figure out how to survive without the system that she's railing against. Like, oh, this system is so terrible. Just like no lunch. It
is a weird thing.
It's tragic. It crosses over past comedy. But,
yeah, it's strange that she
describes herself
thinks
as an angry black girl. That's in her Twitter bio.
I feel like she treats the school like a lot of Democrats treat the federal government. Like the moment they feel like that they're not being taken care of completely, they're like, oh, what's wrong here? The federal government's supposed to take care of my every need, right? She feels that way about the college. She's going to college right now. They got to take care of her. That's not how college used to be.
Which makes perfect sense because she's not paying for any of it.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, college used to be the place where you went and got an education. They had dorms there, which was essentially like an apartment building, right? And then they had a little cafeteria that you could go get food. But like, you're a grown-up. I mean, you're a young grown-up, but you're a grown-up.
She's 21.
Yeah. So
she's 21 and she refers to it as her home. Like, I don't know when I can go home again. So she's like, she has no intention of being in the real world. She's like, my home now is this college. And then my home will be like somewhere else where everyone takes care of all my needs. It's like, she's useless.
Hey, Dame Piglet,
she's
good to see you.
That's it. She has no.
Did you guys see the context? Like what they were saying at the protest? Like, I'm not like hugely concerned. Like I'm not sitting there thinking like this is a violent protest. I don't think they should probably have arrested these people. I'm for free speech, even if I don't agree with you. But the crap they were saying was pretty vicious. You know, I mean, they were like, somebody had a sign that was like pointing to some of the Jewish protesters, and it was saying something about like I don't know, something violent about them, like specifically the people that were there. And then there was somebody else who had a sign that said, what was it? Like January 7th is going to happen again and again and again, like 10,000 times or something. We're going to keep basically just killing Jews in Israel. I don't remember all the quotes exactly, but that's quite nasty stuff, like really vicious stuff.
It's a threat.
I mean,
a threat of violence.
Here's the thing. A lot of probably the people at the upper echelons of these academic institutions are probably Jewish, right? And they're looking at these students going like, kill Israeli Jews and this kind of stuff. And they're going, yeah, you know what? Let's break up this protest. Right? They probably don't have, what do they call it? A permit?
But would they do the same thing if it was a protest?
No, sorry, go on.
But if people were protesting the murder of Christians, would they bat an eye to that? That's the question I want to ask.
No, as you can see clearly, what's happening in Armenia, nobody cares what's going on there. A real genocide is happening, and nobody cares. So, of course, obviously, if it's Christians, no. But also, I love that this is happening. I hope it escalates. Actually,
right?
it's just
this battle between leftists.
Wake more people up, and I'm big on that. Like,
Yeah, leftists
like,
eating
I
their
hope
own
it
is always good.
escalates.
Is always good entertainment.
Yep.
And they're
Dame
reaping what they
Piglet
sow, definitely,
jumped
because
in.
they're creating these
real
radicals.
people.
Dame Piglet jumped in the comments. She says, "Hi, back. Great
Hey.
to see y'all. $5. Thank you so much, Dame Piglet."
Welcome to the chaos.
Yeah, it is a little bit chaotic here. Go on, Jason. What were you saying?
We've got some people interacting on Rumble in the comments. So thanks, guys, on Rumble for doing that. Sorry about the buffering. I know it's more of an issue for me personally. I don't know why.
You want to say anything from the people in Rumble?
Well,
Kurt went out. Oh, there he goes.
Oh,
Kurt, I was saying, do you want to say anything that anybody's saying in Rumble, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but Inocho or just Inocho. I don't know. Enoch. I don't know. Sounds like a Mortal Kombat name.
Enoch. That's biblical.
Is it Enoch? Okay, he's got a zero on both ends, so it like confused me. But anyway, point I was trying to.
I apologize for Kurt.
Everyone apologized for me. Made a point that I was trying to get to about how like what is exactly? I want to quote it. Wrestling lines. Yes. Yeah. Restart the stream. It's unwatchable. Yeah. It's on my end. I'm not sure why. But let's see here. Where'd it go?
Well, this is entertaining.
It was right.
To get back to my point,
right
Jason, I blame you for this.
Send her to college in Somalia. Send her to college in Somalia. That'll cure her privilege.
Yeah.
Like, right. So basically, go to Somalia, and I looked this up as well. It's just
Good
like,
point.
so she's what is her name? Isla or something. She's self-described as an angry black girl. Okay, good for you. So I'm betting that in 10 years, she'll be much more like her mother. She'll probably be married to some white guy and living comfortably in America. But she's an angry black girl now because she's 21 and unemployed and not doing anything except having fun going to college, where anyone in her position that wasn't set up the way she is would find themselves jobless and $100,000 in debt, or that's just a year for what she's paying. So there would be $400,000 in debt after 4 years of playing around and doing what she's doing now, LARPing as a communist, basically. But, sorry, just a second.
No, what you reminded me, you remind me of something that we were talking about earlier, is that what's sad is that these are the future people that they're gonna prop up to be our future representatives.
Yeah.
These are the people that are gonna be
Just
representing
the
us,
next AOC.
and for me, that's the scariest thing, because people that are really can do something good for the country, they seem to not like go for these positions. But these people are programmed way early on, young like this, 21, and they're just made to go through this track to become our future leaders, and that's what scares me.
Yeah.
All right. So
she was born in Somalia. There's a If she was born in Somalia, there's a 75% chance she would receive no formal education. 25% of girls actually go to the school through the school system there. 35% chance she would have been forced into a marriage before she turned 18.
Right.
And 1 in 12 chance she would have died in childbirth. But America is so terrible.
Yeah. All right. Let me jump in here.
So go down to Somalia, get them to the level where they're at America in terms of women's rights and privileges, and then come talk to us. Otherwise, enjoy your privilege and shut the F up. Chris, go ahead.
So Eric Wade jumped in here and he says, "Great show as always, but you guys should figure out how to stop stepping on each other. Half this live stream has been awkward interruptions, and y'all need to stow your ball sacks and just talk." So I think the problem is that for some reason, I don't really understand the stowing the ball sacks comment. I don't get that. But I will say that there is some kind of a weird delay going on, which I think I have to figure out, because oftentimes when I say something, it takes a while to get to Kurt, and then Kurt will start talking before he hears me, and then he'll feel like he's got to stop because I'm interrupting him. But I don't know. So we got to work that out. But it's not... we're not intentionally interrupting each other. I'm in Asia. Kurt's in Hawaii. Jason's in Miami. So there's a little bit of a delay here. But let me tell you a little bit about Ilhan Omar. Because Ilhan Omar grew up in like a kind of like a mansion, like an estate, right? And her family in Somalia, her father, I think, was like high up in the government. And so they essentially had servants, right? There's like various classes of people in Somalia. It's a third world country, right? So they all had these servants running around treating them like gods, right? And then she came to America, and I've seen this interview, and I wanted to make this video a long time ago. I never got around to it, but there's a video of her talking about how when she came to America, she thought America was terrible because she lived in like this 1-bedroom apartment with her dad, and she didn't have any of the luxuries she had back in Somalia. And I feel like her entire political existence has been one big effort to turn America into Somalia, right? She wants to get back to that world in which she has servants, right? And she's treated like a goddess. That's what she wants, right? She wants the rest of America to bow down to her because she grew up believing that she's special. What's that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%, Chris. And that's why I'm saying, like, having these people come here without their loyalty straight, like where their loyalties are at, is a big problem. It's a huge problem.
Yeah, because it used to be, so you come to this country because you want to be American. You're going to adopt our rules, our culture to an extent. You are and
you're going to humble yourself.
You left where you came from because whatever was going on in that government failed. That's why you don't live there anymore. You don't live there because where you came from, to quote Donald Trump, is an asshole country. So you come to this country. The purpose of America is so that everyone has equal opportunity, not equality of outcome, and not so that some people can work so that other people don't have to work. It's so that everybody that works can keep what they earn. And it's been turned completely backwards, upside down now. And that's why we're in the state that we're in. We're bringing people in, and we have instead of having a society where people can work and raise themselves up, we have a welfare state where being a working person is punished. You're taxed, and your money is handed to somebody who doesn't want to work. So it's
now,
like,
I actually think there are some people
road if we can get back there.
I think there are some people who do deserve to have, all these expenses paid for because they work for the government. They're a great politician. They're a great representative for their people. They're working really hard to improve America, make America great again, you might say. But I think it's one of the greatest travesties of the modern era that people like Ilhan Omar get paid to represent Americans in the federal government. She gets all this esteem. She gets all this praise. She gets to be famous. She's in front of the cameras all the time. She's a total effing narcissist. And she gets like her flights paid for, right? That's an expense. So she lives in this luxurious way. She doesn't deserve that. Okay. There's very few people that I would say deserve to live in poverty, but she's one of them. Maybe not poverty, but like she should be working at a bank, or a Dairy Queen. That's where she should be working.
If she was paid based on her worth, she would be living in poverty. That's for sure.
Exactly, because she's effing worthless. And it just drives me crazy that our tax money is going to, supplement her lavish lifestyle. Like, just go back to Somalia. Nobody wants you here. I guess we're done.
I'm not trying
Jason,
to,
next story?
State the obvious, but...
Oh, sorry, go.
Okay, so
that's what I'm going to chalk that up to the time delay.
Mark Zuckerberg's Meta plans for you to not see Donald Trump on platforms before election.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting one. I can go ahead and throw that story
Any
up
thoughts
here.
on that?
So Zuckerberg is Facebook, and did he have He's still just Facebook, right? The Meta thing, is that like a separate platform? That's like a failed thing, right? The whole
No. Meta
integrated-
is Facebook. It's the
AI
parent
universe.
I think
company
it
of Facebook.
integrates all that.
And they bought Instagram as well,
Facebook,
so
it's
they've got
Instagram too, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now here's the thing: if you read
Well, if
this
the fate of this
story,
country is decided by people.
see, this is the problem with the delay. We all start talking at the same time. We all stop talking at the same time. It is awkward. Okay, we got to work this out. We might have to go back to the other platform, but then I don't know how to get that onto Rumble, so we're gonna have to work that out. But anyway, yeah, if you read through this story, Zuckerberg, because Zuckerberg was like really heavily involved in the previous election, in the 2020 election, to an extent to that,
yes,
it was borderline illegal what he was doing. Like he may be in trouble for that stuff if Trump gets into office. And I think Zuckerberg was probably put into that position by other people. He may not have wanted to be in that position, but he was in there. So now he's like, look, I don't want to be part of any of this. I just want to get out. So what he's saying, or what is being presented, is not that they're trying to hide Trump from the people, but they're trying to hide everyone. So all politicians, all politics, they're taking that all off of Facebook. They're hiding all that stuff. I don't really like that, actually, because I talk about politics. That's kind of what I do. I'm already being throttled by YouTube. I don't really want to be throttled by Facebook also. It's really frustrating, but I would rather have them just stay out of politics and limit their involvement and maybe take a hands-off approach than to throttle conservatives, just to suffocate conservative channels and to promote leftist stuff. I'd rather have them just like equally, you guys do what you want, we're out of it kind of thing. That's better to me. At least that's more fair. But ideally, they would just promote political channels in the same way they would promote a channel about animals or motorcycles or whatever. Just like let us live in the world like other channels. This is important stuff. People need to talk about politics and religion and philosophy and all that kind of thing. So, but I think if they're going to reduce their political footprint, at least they're doing it evenly. Hopefully that's true. It's probably a lie, to be honest.
Yeah, I doubt it. I just think it's funny that they're doing that now during election time, election season. I don't doubt that it's going to be one-sided. Sure. Especially after what he gave like 400 million or something like that in the 2020 election through organizations. So I seriously doubt that they're just gonna block out everybody.
Right. Well, even if he believes it, even if this is his mandate, who works for him? How many conservatives are working for him? So him saying I'm not involved is basically saying like my employees who are all far leftists are allowed to do whatever the heck they want in this.
That's a good point. Like him personally saying it is like an escape, just saying, "Oh, but whatever my employees do."
He's washing his hands of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, move on or.
What's the next one?
Bidenomics drives house prices to another record high. The already insane cost of purchasing a home has hit a new high thanks to the ongoing horror show that is Bidenomics. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you, but they're saying on Rumble that they lost sound. Maybe it's back now. Is it back now? Sound? Question mark.
It's just another example of the craziness that's going on in the economy with Biden in charge, and yeah, it's very difficult to buy a house now, especially here in Florida. It's very difficult. Like, I have no chance in buying a home here in Florida right now.
That was gonna be my question. Enoch says sound is back on Rumble. Thanks, Enoch. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. The mortgage payment is killing even the people that rent. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm confused because there's actually, well, I don't know. Like, I know the elections are rigged, but the fact that there's actually people that are willing to vote for them over and over again, or vote for them again this coming election, and states might actually, Biden might win states. It's just baffling to me. Like, I don't get it. Like, I would think they would rush to like somebody like Robert Kennedy or something. I'm just, it's just.
I don't think it's true. I think it's being falsified.
Yeah.
I can hear you. Oh crap. Oh, okay, good. Let's carry on, Jason, while Chris works on that.
Is it just Chris, or can you guys hear every Kurt and I?
Oh, I just assumed. All right.
Okay.
And you're back. Okay, they say you're back.
All right. Yeah. So, what was I saying? Oh, I was saying like just these numbers are just so confusing to me. Like, I know people are like, I can't understand how Biden will actually win states in this coming election. I don't know how anybody will actually vote for him. I would think they would vote for somebody like Robert Kennedy or some alternative person. It's just somebody that, like, if somebody tells me they're voting for Biden, I just completely lose all respect, because like, you see the world around you burning, you see everything going up in prices, rent is crazy, housing's crazy, and gas and food, and to just say that just because you have TDS is, I mean, I'm just,
is that
I'm lost for
something?
words.
Is that something you actually come across? Do you talk to people in your daily life and find people that are saying they're going to vote for Biden?
Most people aren't going to vote for Biden, but you have, that's what I'm saying, the exception. You have a few people that do say they will. And for me, that's just, I'm just.
Yeah, they're saying in the comments. Yes, the comments in the chat. Did it change? They were saying you were back.
No, Chris, they say, I hear that. I see that.
Well, Jane Pittman said, nope, Chris is still gone. Okay, my mistake.
But yeah, you're right. The Dane Pigley, you're right. Pro-abortion people. It's amazing, like how it does. They don't care. Like all they care about is that one.
Sure.
That one thing, like murder your babies. Like it's like the world can burn as long as they continue to have that.
Yeah, that's the big problem with Democrats. They have their pet issues. Like Chris says a lot of times, it's a coalition of special interests. So as long as you vote the way I want on X, and they don't care about anything else. They're totally myopic. They're just like, I'm pro-abortion, women's rights, or whatever, and just like, okay, well, that means you've got my vote. Tank the economy. I can't buy a house. I can't pay my student loans. I can't afford a cart of groceries. Whatever. As long as I can kill babies, you got my vote. It's crazy that the way they'll cling on to this one issue and be like, okay, well, and then they'll buy any kind of rhetoric that they heap onto Trump, like he's this, that, or the other, and be like, just to reinforce their delusions.
Yeah, have they ever thought if it keeps on going the way it's going, they won't even be able to kill their babies because there'll be no opportunity to have that?
Right.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, if we were to believe that this is Obama's third term, we know what Obama was about. Obama was the destruction of this country. His plan was manage and decline. It's just like, okay, guys, this country is going down the toilet, and my plan is to make it a smooth transition. He was like, he was just like, okay, I got the plunger ready. Just like it's going. I'm not going to stop it going. Those jobs that are gone. So if his plan is to collapse the country, I mean, somebody's either making money or getting more powerful off of this. Soros, whatever, these guys that are funding the destruction of the country, they like it the way it is. And if the American people are waking up to a certain degree, there are the few that are going to be like the one issue people who are just like never Trumpers, or the people that just like are pro-abortion or pro this one issue. But if they can convince some people, and they've got the media machine working around the clock, and they can convince some people that Biden could conceivably win this election, because we know, our audience and us, we know they didn't win the last damn election. They got away with that. For whatever you want to say, they got away with it. Biden is still president, so they got away with it. So they're thinking like, hey, we got away with it once, we get away with it again. All we have to do is keep up appearances. Make beyond the reasonable doubt, Trump is a criminal. People like Biden, people don't like Trump. It's as absurd as it is. They keep pumping it out there, keep saying the lie until it's true, then keep on destroying this country with Biden in. They've already said Trump's never going to hold another election. Yeah. Okay, that's your plan. Get Biden in there, keep the wars going, the wars in other countries, whatever you got to do. Keep everything in a constant state of turmoil until this country goes down, 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 down. And we know that's the goal for Obama. So is that the goal for everybody that's in this conglomerate? Possibly.
What's crazy is that when Trump won, he proved all that wrong. Like he proved things can change. The country actually is not going. It can become better, and that's amazing.
All right.
People didn't see that. They were so blinded with hatred that their side lost, that they didn't realize the good that Trump did. And it's amazing to me. I heard today, I think I read, I can't quite remember it, but the Supreme Court ruled on
yes, I'm glad you brought that up.
To sing a case for the rigging election. Obvious case. I think it was the one where in Arizona where the machines were kind of like messing up and all that. Like they haven't even put one of these cases up to see just so they can see what happened. And I know why, because they know if it goes to court, all this stuff is going to come out that it was rigged. So I mean, it just amazes me.
I don't know. Here's the thing about that. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with the Supreme Court decision there, because it seems like such an important thing. They should take that case. But like with legal matters, sometimes the courts don't take this case because it's not that good of a case. It won't set a precedent that they want. So they take another case that's similar. So I don't know what's going on in their heads. So, like I'm not a lawyer. I am back. Yeah.
They're saying they can't hear you.
No, they're not. What are you on about, man? They're saying I'm back. I'm good. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
We can always hear you though, so we can't be.
You're not reliable. No, but I wanted to make sure that you guys could hear me too. Look, I'm the eternal optimist. I don't want to think that the court is doing something sinister here. Maybe they are, but I think it's like a wait and see kind of thing. Like maybe they'll deal with that in the future. Although they probably should have. What?
Is this gonna be speaker part 2?
Yes.
Chris is waiting and
exactly
seeing, and Jason is just like, no. All right,
Black Hill Jason
week, people, for Chris's.
Will end up being
Tune in
right
next
again
week for Chris's next apology.
Well, but listen.
Let me tell you, I think the Supreme Court got scared to death when these crazy people rioted and they almost tried to kill one of the justices. I think it freaked them out. And
well, they actually ruled relatively well recently on one particular case, right? Which was the case of taking Trump off the ballots. You guys remember this in Colorado? And it was like a 9-0 decision. So even the leftists on the court, on the what do they call it? Whatever. They were just like, yeah, this is even too far for us. This is crazy, So that was good. They actually made one good decision.
Jason, what I thought you were bringing up was, I think it was MTG that proposed they don't use voting machines in the next election. She brought that before the Supreme Court, and they were just like, "Nope, we don't want to hear it." Like, no.
No, it wasn't Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah.
It wasn't?
It was Carrie Lake. It was a Carrie Lake.
Yeah.
And
Carrie Lake, yes, it was.
An attorney general, I think.
Thank you. Excuse me, I misspoke. Yes, Carrie Lake. But why were they so quick to say, no, we're definitely not doing that? There's two reasons. One, I think there's been too much investment in these machines. I think that they paid these companies a lot of money. And two, because obviously it helps them cheat. So obviously they want these machines because you've seen in other examples how easy it is. Just go in there and be like, oh, this number and this number, let's just fix those, and then there you go. So if it's that simple, then I think they should be definitely saying no voting machines. But why do you think that they did that? They're so dismissive of it.
I just think that if they take these things
yes, both of you.
I think if they take these things to court, a lot is going to come out, and it's going to disrupt a lot. It's gonna make people really question our electoral system, and I know the truth.
They're preserving the status quo because proving that the last election was stolen would be so detrimental to the faith of the people in the government. To preserve the structure of the government itself and the perception in people's eyes, they can't allow the truth to come out because it would be disastrous. Maybe.
Yes. Yeah. On the side of the justices, that's what I believe they're thinking. You know, I believe they think they're trying to preserve that.
Did I lose you,
Chris?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
I thought you were in mid-statement, Jason. Sorry, I thought I dropped out for a second there.
I know.
It's 3:00. I got a hard out, boys. I got to get going. So we're going to touch on the last subject, or should we sign off?
Yeah, let's look at what do we got left, Jace.
Okay, we have the Babylon Bee has an interesting has a funny
yeah, we can end on this.
X post.
Before you get to that, these stinking Babylon bees. Chris will send me these, or either of you guys will send me these, and occasionally I'll read it before looking at the fact that it's a Babylon bee, and I'll be like, "Wait, what?" I'll actually think it's a real story, and I'll be like, "What?" And I'll look at Babylon. So my own fault, but I just thought I'd share that with you guys. That these things throw me off sometimes.
Yeah, it's crazy. Those stories can be true. Like you never know. It's
in this news
so-
cycle, this day and age, is just like, yeah, it's so close to truth that it makes you do a double take. You got to be careful.
Yeah. So Biden claims his uncle's heart was ripped out during human sacrifice ritual in India.
Hold on, I've lost. Give me a second. Go and comment.
Yeah, it's if every this was a awesome take on because Biden was talking about that his uncle, I think, crashed in World War II or something in a plane, and he was eaten by cannibals. He went on this rant about that.
Yeah, he said his uncle was eaten by cannibals or something, right? Yeah, that was what it was. Yes.
And it turns out that his uncle just crashed in the Pacific, which happened to, soldiers. It's tragic and terrible, but what a weird thing to say. You'd think that before he would say something like that, he'd make sure that that was true, because I think this is obviously like some kind of like family thing that they say.
Yeah. Chris, it's almost as if Biden's cognitive ability is somehow compromised, but that can't be the case.
Oh, you think? But
That's
you know what's funny?
No, that's crazy talk.
What would he get out of saying a story like that? Like I'm confused. Like,
no, I think he believes this. I think that he thought that that's what happened.
But what? Like, people are gonna be like, oh wow, his uncle was eaten by cannibals. Wow, I'm gonna vote for him.
Yeah, like it is a weird story. But Biden's a weird dude.
We can give Biden credit for one thing at least. The problem I have with leftists is that they live in a fantasy world, and their representative clearly speaks for them. So at least they've got that. Biden also lives in the fantasy world, so you guys can be sure that you're properly represented.
Yeah, let me tell you something. If Biden wins another 4 more years, we might all be cannibals soon.
Listen. The thing that's great about this Babylon Bee story, the reason I sent it to you guys, is because it references Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I mean, how often
they were doing? I didn't get that at all.
Are you kidding?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you should be, but that was so dry, Kurt. That delivery was so dry. It was unclear. All right. Well, I think that's all we've got. There's not a lot of super chats today, so I think we've gone through them all. You guys want to sign out with anything interesting? You want to say anything to the crowd?
Well, yeah, I just want to say sorry for the technical difficulties. Hopefully we'll have it ready in the next episode, and my apologies, but yeah. Hope you guys stay and watch us the next time. I hope this doesn't turn you guys off.
Yeah, it'll be better next time. We'll have it a lot smoother, and hopefully I'll have the Rumble chat up so I can talk to everybody all at the same time. All right. Well, thanks for watching this episode of Toxic Masculinity. What we're going to call this from now on the disaster episode. Remember, it's not that the liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that is not so. Good night.